Hi everyone. You're not going to believe this, but it's Saturday morning. It's 9 o'clock. Oh yes, it's time for the Monster Magic Saturday Show. Let's do this.
Wake up, it's a beautiful morning. Feel the sun shining for your eyes.
Woohoo! Yay! Saturday morning. Hope you've all got your tea, your coffee, your croissants, or your continental breakfast all lined up. It's been a quietish week, really, on the Monster Magic website for new products. Like, I do curate everything I get in, so you don't have to sift through all of the chaff. Does mean occasionally I might miss a good product. So if there is something you want, just ping me an email and I can get it in usually within 3 or 4 days. But by curating it, I'll tell you what it does do. It makes a big difference to what I think is, it means I can answer people's questions on every product because I can have everything in stock actually in my shop ready to ship the same day. I don't know why I'm plugging Monster Magic, because this is a review show. So let's get cracking with the first trick, which is unbelievably Rising Card by Sorcerer Magic. Came out last week, and it is a really, really nifty way of having a card rise out of your breast pocket. Really is probably the ideal to do it. You could do it in any other pocket. You could actually place it inside anything that's sort of big enough, sort of pocket sized, that you could have. So you have something on the table if you really wanted. You could probably do it from a card box now, thinking about it, but that's just off the top of my head. I haven't actually checked it out. And the difference between this and a lot of other devices out there, or devices that have gone before, is that this one is wireless, so you don't have to alter any clothing and don't have to get tailors involved or anything like that. And it is a really simple, very little to go wrong, very little to break a device. It's pretty much bulletproof, which is lucky because let me show you the instructions. No online instructions, no help. You just get this piece of paper. I won't show you the instruction side, it's a bit boring anyway, but there you go. So that's the size, yeah, you just get that, which has got some diagrams and a few words on the back. I think IKEA have probably got more words on their instructions than there are here. So it's very much up to your imagination what you do with it. Routines, there's no routines given. But obviously it is a rising card from pocket, so whether you want that to be your reveal, or like a fun card to pocket sort of idea, you could do it. You'd have to have a duplicate. Couldn't be a signed card. There's no way of really sort of loading the card on the fly as such. So it's not going to be a signed card. It is just a card from the pocket, but it's a lot of fun having a card rise from your pocket. Really do like it if you've got an effect in mind, if you do a card to pocket, or you just want it as a revelation after a force. Absolutely brilliant. What you get in here is you get the little remote control, very much a standard remote controls that you can buy anywhere, and you get the actual device. I won't show you too much about I won't show you the workings of it, just for, it's a secret, isn't it, essentially? But this is it. This is the size of it. It's about the width of half a deck of cards. The back here is completely open, which is a slight concern to me, because you have got a motor here and some wires, and they're not that well protected. So you're going to want to be careful with it, and you're going to make sure. I would just worry about fluff getting in the motor eventually. But if you give it a bit of a clean with a cotton bud, if that happens, you should be fine. Just takes a couple of small batteries, and you're good to go. It does, so there is a motor involved, and the rising card mechanism bit looks pretty bulletproof. There's no instructions on how to fix it. Should what I shall call the thread / wire / string bit break, but it's pretty self-explanatory, really. If you want, one could look at it, you'll know exactly what you've got to do, but there are no tips on how to do that. And that's really it, basically. It's a very, very simple device, which is possibly the problem. So although I love the idea of it, and it's a great little utility thing, and it's been a lot of fun just to carry around, you know, just for fun. I just have it in my top pocket when going around out and about. And should anyone want an impromptu card trick, having a rising card from your pocket, be brilliant. But it's £85 or £86. I think it's £85.99, which is a bit steep for what you get. This isn't 3D printed, so it's I think it's that sort of fiberboard stuff. It's quite good. I mean, it is strong. Everything else, I think, like I say, I think it probably needed to have a back on it would be better, especially if you're paying that much money for it. I just think it's too expensive. I just think it's too expensive. If it was 50 quid, I would snap one up just for the fun of the reveal. It brings a smile to people's faces having a card to the pocket. I haven't really got a routine for it, so that's why I won't really be doing it. But yeah, it's a shame that. It's a really nice idea. It's just too expensive. It is Rising Cards. And now we are on to the biggie of the week. Yes, it is Deepex by Paul Harris. There's always excitement when a new trick with Paul Harris's name comes on it. I actually think some of his releases, sometimes they're just a little too convoluted for my liking, and I mean, Whack Your Pack is a brilliant effect from The Art of Astonishment. I think it might even been for Supercars, but I can't remember. Anyway, so things like that. So if you go back to his early stuff as well, very, very creative card magician, and obviously he invented Fizzmaster and things like that. So lots of stuff with everyday projects. That's all in the Art of Astonishment books. Those 3 books, just buy them. Gosh, I should get them in. This is Deepex, which comes originally from the Anything deck, which is in book 3 of The Art of Astonishment. It then became Deep Astonishment as a marketed product in its own right, where he took what was the Anything deck, is pretty much just all done with a deck of cards. Then Deep Astonishment introduced an envelope. I think it was a Ben Harris style envelope that removed some of the sleight of hand and made things a little bit easier. And it then became Deep Clear with the wallet, which is very similar to this wallet. And now it is Deepex, which uses a website to enter their word in. And the beauty of that is that their word is now never told to you. But let me tell you the effect, just in case you don't know and you haven't watched the trailer. You ask if people are feeling lucky, if they are a lucky person, and so on. And you talk about having lucky cards, and you show your ID case with your lucky cards inside. You ask them to think of a 4-letter word to find out their lucky cards. They go to a website, they enter their word into the website, and it brings up their 4 lucky cards. You remove their 4 lucky cards from a blue backed deck so they can clearly see what they are. And you then remove your lucky cards, which are red backed, from the wallet, and you show that they match their lucky cards. Big wham, boom, boom, boom. And then you turn it over, you show that you've actually got their word written down on the cards. That word has not been spoken, apart from when they enter it into the website. That word entirely exists in their head. And genuinely speaking, you don't know what that word is. You don't need to know what that word is. And that revelation of the word is a real knockout punch. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this trick. I'm not a great fan of introducing phones and websites into my magic. That's just me. It's probably my age more than anything else. I think it works really well. I do. I genuinely think it means they get their their lucky cards really quickly. It's very efficient. It's almost instantly forgotten, and it does mean obviously that you don't need to know what the word is. You can then pull out their cards from the deck, and everything really is self-working. The ID case, it says the ID case is examinable. Let me just I'm not sure examinable is the right word. It can be looked at, it can, you know, but I wouldn't want someone to spend too long examining it, because they will find something. It is gimmicked, and they might find something that's a bit curious, and they might ask you some questions about the cards uses. Well, I mean, I'm not going to go into too much detail about the gimmicks, but you get 2 gimmicks in here, 2 gimmicked cards, and the wallet. In Deep Clear, I believe you actually got the whole deck of cards. So to set this up, you have to take a red deck of cards and a blue deck of cards, sort of mash them together, and you get to write the letters on the back of the card yourself. So take care, otherwise you'll be using an extra deck of cards until you get it right. And that's good, because you know, you can use your own handwriting. You can do it in whatever flary or straightforward way that you like. The website is fine, it's nice and clean. They can revisit the website if they're doing it on their own phone. They can revisit the website and enter in different words to show that they have got different letters, different cards for different words. It's not always the same cards. If they do it a long time, when they really try and think about it, they might notice that it's not all 52 cards that are showing up consistently, but really I don't think anyone's going to pay that much attention to it. They might enter a couple of words and go, oh, they're different. Yeah, fair enough. And so from that point of view, I'm happy with the website completely. What I really like about it is because they haven't mentioned their word, there's a brilliant disconnect between sort of what the cards are and their words. The connection, the fact that if you know what the cards are, and each card is related to a letter, it's always going to spell the right word. That doesn't really sort of join up in your participant's mind. It might do if they think about it for a few days, but certainly at the time, it feels like that you've got their cards that match their card, and they could have thought of any word, and you've got any word written on the back. The actual connection between the letters and the cards, I don't think is made by the participant, certainly not during the trick or immediately after the trick. Days later, if they're really, really puzzling over it, they might get there. There's a few things that aren't quite justified in the routining. Why you bring out their 4 cards from a blue deck first before showing your lucky cards. That might bother you. You can always do a bit of a trick with their 4 cards. First of all, maybe have another card chosen or something else, and just do a trick with those 4 cards. Maybe you could do a twist in the aces routine with them, or a Doc Daly style routine. I do know that when Deep Clear was released, Dave Lucy of Alakazam had a brilliant routine for justifying bringing out the cards. I don't know if that's still available. I don't know if it's still on Facebook or whatever, but that might help you give some ideas as to how you can justify bringing out the cards from the blue deck. But really, it's more of it's more to help them memorize, help them visualize it, and remember those cards. So it's not an issue. People say, I mean, why would you carry around an ID wallet? You're carrying around your lucky cards. You've got to put them in something. And this seems like a logical wallety type thing that you might have lying around your house that you can put your lucky cards in. And it's really self-working, and it's really easy to do. And it is just a very, very good, powerful commercial card trick. I've just fallen in love with it. The more I've played with it and had fun with it, the more I like it. It is really going. I mean, I did like Deep Clear a lot as well, and the tutorial is mainly Paul Knight. There is a little bit with Craig Petty at the start, doing an introduction. He makes tricks better, even needs a seat. And there's a bit of Craig Petty at the end, doing a little outro. I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. But don't worry, the tutorial is still under half an hour, despite Craig. He's short and concise. It is really, really good. It's 38.99, which for what you actually get inside is a bit steep, but you do get a really, really powerful effect. Craig suggests that this is the final answer, the last ever iteration of Deep Astonishment, Deep Clear, the Anything deck. I don't think it is, because if this was me, if you go back to the Art of Astonishment books, you'll find that the Anything deck, Paul Harris suggests it could be done with tarot cards, and I think a tarot card version of Deepex would make a lot of sense to go and have, you think of a word and it will give you your tarot, and you could do a nice little false reading, or even a true reading if you believe in the stuff, with the cards, and then you could show that you've got the same cards as well and go into the Deepex routine. I think that would be absolutely amazing. That is Deepex by Paul Harris and Paul Knight, with a little bit of Craig. I must just quickly mention that Mini Book Pro refills are now released. They're now in stock. So do grab them if you have got Mini Book Pro and you're enjoying it and you're burning through the refills, burning through the gimmicks because you're giving them away. They are a great giveaway. And also they're signed anyway, so you can't do it again. So there you go. They're £12 for a deck. You get 56 in a deck, which is, if you do some maths, works out at not very much per use. So there you go. That is Mini Pro refills. Next up, we have got Q&A by TCC. This is a stage parlor jumbo size card routine. Here are the cards. They are it's a traditional sort of Monty style routine. The backs of the cards, if you look at the trailer, he's got the backs of his cards are different, but they're actually sort of a solid black. These are the cards. They're not fully card. They're not. I don't know. They're not that strong. They're not that strong. So they are a bit flimsy. But that means they're light, they're easy to handle. You will want to look after them. You want to sort of put these inside a good, between two pieces of tough cardboard, I think, if you're traveling with them. My concern isn't that they might get bent, really, but I did have one that arrived and it got the impression, from whatever it was packed in the box with, left an impression, a sort of indent in the card, which sort of gives the game away. The routine you can see from the trailer is a sort of almost a stand-up Monty. It's like a big stand-up Monty routine, which is nice. You can have a lot of fun with it. The trailer doesn't really do it justice because it's a silent, just done to music, and really you need to be engaging with your audience. You need to have some good lines and just sort of joke and interact with your participants. There is some major discrepancies throughout the routine. I think they fly, especially if you're talking and you're asking people, and you put a lot of focus on where the discrepancy isn't happened, and a little bit of timed misdirection as well. I'm just not sure how much I like the routine. I mean, without doing it, I can't. I haven't done it on stage. I haven't really done it in front of anybody, so it's hard. It's hard to judge. But you have got things like the sidewalk shuffle, which is a similar well-worn path, well-worn routine, which I really, really like. I've also done a jumbo version of the Virginia City Shuffle, with cards I made up myself, and that played really well. I'm sure this would play really, really well. My concern is the quality of the strength of these cards when traveling. The routine is really, really easy. The tutorial is basically silent as well. It's just a demonstration running through the moves and the routine to camera. It's a bargain price, which I'll put down because I can't remember how much it is. And if you are looking for a sort of cheapish, perhaps, you know, even just as a backup for your stage act. If something goes wrong, you can pull this out, or just a fun interactive opener perhaps, then really do consider it. For the price, you can't really go too far wrong. Just look after the props and come up with a bit of fun patter and storyline for it, because that isn't really given. So that is Q&A by TCC Magic. Now I'm going to squeeze in a couple of golden oldies. The first little gem is a quirky, fun piece of mentalism, which is right up my street. It is Socks by Michel Huot. I never know how to pronounce that name. This is a sock matching effect. You show that you've got a set of playing cards or cards pictures of socks on. You put them into two piles and you deal through them, and you ask your participant to say stop wherever they like, and you put those two cards to one side, and you deal through the rest to show that none of the other cards match. You then turn over the two cards that they stopped, and with a bit of a disappointment, they don't match either. But then you pull up your trouser legs to show that you've got mismatched socks on that match the socks that they stopped on, which is brilliant. And for an added kicker, you can then turn over all of the cards and show that they now all match as pairs. It is a really, really good, fun effect. I used to do a trick by David Regal called Matching the Socks, which I used to do on stage, and I used to actually have a chest of drawers, and they used to pull out my sock drawer from. This is much more of a close-up version of sock matching routine, and I really, really like it. You get the socks, you get the cards, they come in a nice wallet. Let me get it all out for you. So these are the socks. As you can see, they're nice, they're colourful, they are fun, and they are good sound quality socks. One size fits all. I guess they're men's socks, but you know, I guess if you've got you have that little bit of the heel thing sticking out the top of your shoe, you'll be fine. And it also perhaps it just adds to the comedy if they don't fit. Who knows? And then you get this really nice wallet that contains your cards, and the cards are nicely printed. They got a sort of nondescript card on, and they've got really nice illustrations of lots and lots of socks. It is a really, really good plot. It is a lot of fun. There is the way Michel does it, he uses a timing force to have the cards match, and that can be very, very scary. It's the sort of thing you need to practice. There are lots of timing forces in card magic. The one where you're cutting off the piles to the table, it is a really, really good force to learn because it does feel very, very free. It's done on the beat of 3 usually. It does work. It does work. It just takes a little bit of balls the first time, perhaps, and just the timing. If you think when you would say stop, that is when they would say stop. Basically, Michel teaches it really well. He says how many cards he deals down and the speed he goes at, and so on. Sometimes a timing force can go wrong. You might just get a tricky spectator, or someone who's distracted, or someone doesn't quite understand the instructions. I'm not saying you blame the spectator. It's always your fault. But Michel teaches ways out of that, and that sort of dilutes the trick a little bit, doesn't make it quite as clear or as strong, but you're in control, and if you say it in a nice matter-of-fact way, you can get away with it. And that won't happen it might happen when you're first learning the trick, but eventually you'll find that it almost never happens. But if the timing force does scare you, Michel teaches you a couple of other very clean, straightforward, direct forces that are 100%, and then his friend Yannick also comes down and teaches how he does it with different forces. So don't worry, it's not 100% reliant on the timing force, although that is possibly the most beautiful way of presenting the trick. And talking of presenting, Michel also talks about how he likes to frame it, how he likes to bring the cards up and so on, and how to display the socks properly so that they, you know, it visually gets the most impact and the biggest surprise. It's a really good tutorial. It's a really good trick. It's really well made. Even this wallet is very, very nice. I think it is a super piece of walk around mentalism that is just really, really good fun and will long be remembered by your audience. So that is Socks by Michel. And finally this week we have Double Back by John Allen. I do know John a little bit. He is an acquaintance and we meet at conventions and so on. Double Back, I really, really like. This was long before I knew John. I had Double Back, and it is a brilliant opener to any table. You have 4 cards, and you ask the people at the table to remember all 4 cards, their suits and their values. You then ask them a couple of questions to sort of test them, like how many cards are there, what suit the king was, and so on. And they go, yes, 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 and you get it all right. And then you put the 2 5s in their hand, and then you click your fingers and the cards, you've then got the 2 5s and they've got 2 kings. It is brilliant. It is a great in the hand transposition effect. You might think it's sort of similar-ish to NFW and obviously Richard Sanders' Ace, which is really NFW, but not going into that. But it adds a lot more interaction than either of those routines do, a lot more I'm not saying banter, but you get a lot more back and forth with your participants to really get a whole table involved, which is why it is such a good opener. You can ask them questions and you can make jokes about that, or you know, tease them, or whatever you want to do. But it does bring the whole table alive. It gets them all interested. It gets them all seeing you. You can frame it nicely up so they're looking at your face as well, so it's not crotch magic. And it is easy to do as well. John does it with an Elmsley count, which he teaches. It's not hard to do an Elmsley count, and it's a lot of fun to practice one. But also he shows a Nick Einhorn idea of how to do it without with just a sort of simple displacement. So it is self-working in many, many ways. It's very easy to do. It is a brilliant opener. I can't really say much more about it. It's packet tricks. I do love a packet trick. I think doing magic with just a few cards in many ways is just more impossible than doing magic with a whole deck, which can act as cover. So there you go. It is also only £15. So it's a bargain. It is Double Back by John Allen. And now, if you were watching last week, you may well have entered a competition to win Glance 3.0, which is Glance 3.0, which is a brilliant book test using magazines by Steve Thompson. You go back and watch last week's show if you don't know what it's about. All I had to do was to solve one of these puppies. Yes, one of these bad boys. And the competition was to guess how long it would take me to solve a Rubik's Cube, going from 0 to hero, as it were. I could only do the first layer before I started, and I wasn't even sure I was ever going to be able to do it. I have thought about learning it before, and I've looked, and it's just been algorithm after algorithm thrown at you. Luckily, actually, I must say a big thanks to Kevin G, who of the Refractor Project. I'll put his details down below, actually, because he saved me, because he sent me their free tutorial on how to solve the Rubik's Cube, which is his colleague Colin Klaus running through how to solve it. And it is a brilliant way of solving a Rubik's Cube. Go and check it out. If you do any Rubik's Cube magic, you really should be able to solve a Rubik's Cube, even if it's Cube 52 that doesn't legitimately need to solve. I mean, there are lots of things, Venom Cube, that you don't necessarily need to solve a Rubik's Cube. But these things can get mixed, and it is really, really useful to know how to do it. And the great thing about Colin's routine is it's all virtually based on one algorithm, which you can get to muscle memory very, very quickly. And then there's just maybe one or two variations on that, a few variations on that, plus an algorithm at the end. Anyway, so he saved me, so I could actually do it. I probably only spent about maybe an hour and a half possibly practicing, because it was all squeezed in between my days. Anyway, I'm now rabbiting on. Here is the video of me solving it, so you can see the time it takes. There was no sound when I solved it, which was a bit of a shame, but as you can see, I'm a bit fumbly at the start. When the camera was on me, I went really, I just froze up. I started panicking. I would have been much quicker out off camera, and partway through you can see that I have a little bit of struggle. I get something a bit wrong, I have to correct myself, and then have to sort of try and figure out why I went wrong, and which algorithm, which turn of the cube I missed. But there you go. And the final time that I did it in was 3 minutes 42 seconds, which I'm pretty proud of. I think I could probably get it down much closer to 2 minutes with an extra day or so. But I could solve it, and that for me was amazing. And surprisingly enough, someone actually guessed 3 minutes 45 seconds. A Mr. J.R. Luther 50, at J.R. Luther 50. If that is you, please get in touch at info@monstermagic.co.uk, or just ping me via the YouTube channel, and I will send you your copy of Glance 3.0. So congratulations, JR Luther 50. Oh, and that's the end of the show, I'm afraid. I would say do tune in next week, because there are some very, very exciting new products coming out on Monday, and some during the week, I think. I haven't quite checked the dates. So it should be a bit of a bumper show next week. But until then, get out, enjoy the weather, take some magic with you, and enjoy the best hobby in the world. Goodbye.